If you feel anxious, wired, or exhausted, there's no clear way to objectively measure the stress or nervous system overload you're experiencing, which is why most people are guessing when it comes to recovery and burnout. This leaves a big question. How do you actually measure stress in a useful way? I wore the Hume band for several weeks to find out. I'm going to show you my actual data, tell you what the metrics mean clinically, and give you an honest answer about how this technology can genuinely help you understand your stress and anxiety. I'm Dr. Ayer, quadruple board-certified psychiatrist and anxiety expert. I've treated thousands of people struggling with anxiety, burnout, and chronic stress. And today I'm reviewing the Hume band, which I've been wearing for a few weeks now. Here is something I see constantly in my clinic. Someone comes in, high functioning, successful, holding everything together on the outside. But inside, their nervous system is completely overwhelmed. They're not sleeping well. They wake up at 3 a.m. with their heart pounding. They feel anxious for no reason. They push through the day on caffeine and willpower. And by evening, they're completely depleted. Here is what most people do not realize. Your nervous system does not just feel stressed. It shows stress in your physiology, in your heart rate patterns, in your sleep architecture, in your body's ability to recover. The problem is, most of us have never had a way to actually see that data in real time, until now. Think of it like this. Imagine you had a dashboard in your car that, instead of showing your speed and fuel level, showed the real-time health of your engine. Not just how fast you're going, but whether your engine is under strain, whether it is overheating, whether it needs rest before the next long drive. That is essentially what the Hume band does for your nervous system. It continuously tracks your physiology and translates it into insights about how your body is actually functioning over time. Not just heart rate. It is measuring deeper signals that tell you whether your nervous system is recovering or struggling. And for someone dealing with chronic stress, that distinction matters enormously. Before I walk you through the specific metrics, I need to explain one concept that makes all of this make sense. Heart rate variability, HRV. Your heart does not beat like a perfectly timed clock. There are tiny gaps between beats that speed up and slow down naturally. That variation is your HRV, and it is actually a good thing. When your nervous system is healthy and balanced, those gaps between beats change more freely. But when you're stressed, anxious, or burned out, your heart beats in a more rigid, locked-in pattern with very little variation. High HRV means your nervous system is flexible, it recovers well, it handles stress without getting stuck. Low HRV indicates it is stuck in fight or flight mode, running on empty. Think of it like a rubber band. A healthy nervous system stretches and snaps back. A depleted one is brittle. It stretches and does not return to the same shape. Looking at my own data, my HRV was 70.9 milliseconds, which sits in the high range. That is a good sign, but the data also showed that this number fluctuated significantly throughout the day. And that fluctuation told a more honest story about how my nervous system was actually responding to the demands I was placing on it. That is the thing about chronic stress. You adapt to it. You stop noticing how depleted you are until the data shows you. The Hume band translates your physiological data into 3 key metrics. Let me walk you through each one and tell you exactly what I noticed in my own numbers. The first is metabolic capacity. This is essentially a measure of how much stress your system can currently handle. Think of it like a battery percentage. Not the battery on your phone, the battery in your nervous system. My recent metabolic capacity score was 44 out of 100. Low, and honestly, I was not surprised. I'd been keeping late nights and moving from one high demand period to the next without giving my nervous system enough time to reset. On those low capacity days, I noticed I felt more reactive, most likely to feel overwhelmed by a full inbox or snap at small things. It was not a coincidence. When your system's capacity is low, everything feels harder. Your brain is working with less fuel, less resilience, and less ability to regulate emotion. So I changed my behavior. On days when my metabolic capacity is low, I now reduce my workout intensity. I prioritize sleep over late night work, and I stop pushing through fatigue. That one shift alone has changed how I structure my week. The second metric is metabolic momentum. This one is about trends over time, not just snapshots. It tracks whether your consistent daily habits are building your resilience or quietly draining it. And this is where it gets really important for anyone dealing with chronic stress. Because burnout is not just about what happened today. It is about what has been accumulating for weeks, months, sometimes years. When I looked at my metabolic momentum trend line, I could clearly see that late nights were pulling my system down over time, even on days when I felt fine. The pattern was right there in the data. Late nights, skipping regular exercise, high stress days without recovery built in. I now adjust my work, rest, and exercise schedules based on my momentum trends, not just how I feel in the moment. My metabolic momentum also showed that I'm aging at 0.1 times the normal pace rather than 1.0 times. This is not something I would have known without the data, and it reinforced that the habits I've built over time are actually working. The third metric is chronic illness detection. I want to keep this simple because the clinical explanation can get complicated fast. What I actually use this for is pattern recognition. The Hume band continuously monitors heart rate, sleep, HRV, stress level, body temperature, and oxygen levels. When my recovery metrics dip for several days in a row, it usually aligns with early signs that my body is under strain before I even feel it consciously. Looking at one specific day in my data, April 22nd, I logged 7,393 steps, 6 hours and 33 minutes of sleep, a heart rate range of 52 to 109 beats per minute, and a stress level average of 20.7, rated low. Body temperature held steady, and blood oxygen ranged from 94 to 99%. That is useful on its own, but the real value is in the trend. When I see those numbers shifting across multiple days, that is my signal to slow down, not wait until I'm already sick or burned out to make a change. Now, the Hume band is not a cure for stress, anxiety, or burnout. Nothing is. But it gives you something most people have never had: objective evidence of what your nervous system is actually doing. And when you can see it, you can change it. A few honest limitations. The strap design could use improvements. And if you already struggle with health anxiety, obsessing over your daily HRV score can become its own source of worry. That is worth knowing going in. But overall, would I recommend it? Yes, absolutely, which is why I currently wear one. What gets measured gets managed. If you want to actually understand how your body is responding to stress, recovery, and training in real time, the link is below with my discount code. It gives you 20% off that stacks up to 50%, and you can try it free for 30 days.